Good morning, everyone, and welcome to my futile quest to make something out of myself and also make something out of this 15-year-old BMW, making the best daily driver that I can for my needs. And today we're talking about CARMAX. I didn't even buy this car from them, and they still found a way to screw me over. Roll the new intro. For those unfamiliar, this is my 2008 BMW 328i Coupe Sport Package. This thing is the result of me looking at all the cars that I've owned in the past and what I own now, and buying something that really does everything that I want it to. I bought this for $13,000 from a local dealership here. After a nationwide search, I ended up finding something in my backyard. It's a one owner, 100,000 miles, with a very cool story. This car came from Germany, which all BMWs do, but this was actually owned by a US Air Force member stationed in Germany until 2019. And it came with full service records in the glove box and a pretty clean Carfax, just a small front end oopsie that has been pretty poorly fixed, I'll be honest. Get on the highway, do what this car is really good at. Since purchasing it, I have done some maintenance and just kind of keeping up with it. Did brake fluid, lower control arms, full set of Bilstein B14 coilovers, which, perfect. Added CarPlay. What else did we do? Oh, upgraded to 335i front brakes. We replaced the starter, the valve cover, gaskets, valve cover, and Valvetronic motor. And I think, we upgraded the subwoofers. I think that's about it. I recently had this thing ceramic coated and paint corrected by the detail dudes in Derby in John Ross's old shop. And I am so happy with where this car is right now. This car has been wonderful since doing all that. I have taken it most recently on a trip to the Ozarks. We went there for, I think, 3 or 4 days with Hoovie and the gang, drove around in the mountains there, and this car was almost everything I could want from it. This was before I did the coilover, so the suspension was a bit floaty, but other than that, smooth, 28 miles per gallon, premium, so fuel economy, not the greatest. But these seats, these sport seats, I have a bad back after an accident a while ago I still can't really talk about for legal reasons. Hopefully I'll be able to make a video on that someday, but court date just keeps getting pushed for 4 years now. But it's left me with a bad back, and these leather sport seats are just the best. It's one of the only cars I was able to get in my car in Ozark, Arkansas, and drive all the way to Wichita, no stops, no getting out of the car, nothing. No back pain whatsoever when I got here. I've even my E46, I've done that trip and it's been iffy. And any other car that would just be impossible. I cannot do soft seats. I need lots of lumbar support, and I need rock hard seats basically. I love how firm these are. And a lot of my friends disagree heavily with me on that. They like, the big Buick couches and stuff. I can't do it. That stuff just kills me. But this was the ideal road trip companion. On the way back, it even fit a passenger in the back, a passenger in the passenger seat, and all of their stuff because a friend's car broke down. It was the only car that broke down all weekend. And would you guess what it was? No, it was a Honda Prelude. Go figure. Apparently the H series, or is that a B series? Whatever engine is in those, I don't remember. They have a thing with the crank bolts backing out sometimes, and it did the thing. But this car really does do just about everything I need it to. I've got CarPlay, I've got a nice snick manual transmission and 3 pedals to keep myself engaged. The 3-liter straight 6 is incredibly smooth and pulls wonderfully, and it should be reliable. I've done pretty much all the reliability things that you would do to one of these. The water pump I should probably take care of preemptively. And also, I think it needs motor mounts. There's a little bit of drivetrain lash that just kind of pops up under some circumstances. And I think motor mounts will take care of that, but that's super easy on these cars. And I think I've had to do motor mounts on damn near every vehicle I've ever owned. Oh yes, the ZHP shift knob did make a big difference too. All the things that you touch, very important in a car. But I've got CarPlay, I've got a great sound system. It's comfy, it rides nice, it handles sublime. I could use new tires. I'm going to look into that in the spring, see what's out there. I've never really bought tires for a daily driver before. I'm always buying like RE71Rs for a Miata or something, so I need to figure out what on earth I want to put on this, but it's probably going to be $1,200 with the way tires prices are these days, which sucks. But this car just kind of does everything well, and I can fold the rear seats down and hold plenty of stuff in here. If this had a hidden trailer hitch on it that I could put in, and I bought a little Harbor Freight utility trailer for like my motorcycle or my kayaks or something, this could very easily be my only vehicle. It's just so nice, and I like the silence. I'm sitting here cruising on the highway. It's reasonably quiet. It's a very windy day out. There is a bit of wind noise through these frameless windows, but it's smooth. I'm not hearing drone. I really love the exhaust in my E46, how it sounds. Don't love the drone so much. But there's one thing that I'm less happy about, and that is the status of the registration. So I bought this thing from a dealership here in town who got it from a dealer auction. As these things go, the cars get passed around a bit. And the dealership that dumped it at auction was the CARMAX in Dallas, Texas, where the original owner presumably traded it in on a newer BMW or something, who knows. Well, what happened was the original owner goofed when signing over the title and accidentally wrote in a 9 instead of a 1 in the odometer section of the title. Easily enough resolved. There are forms for that. However, the CARMAX representative that was working that day gave him the wrong form. Just didn't know what form to give the guy. Gave him an affidavit of correction, and what is actually needed is an affidavit of mileage discrepancy, I think. That doesn't turn the car into something where the mileage is unknown, it just corrects that specific, mileage is a very serious thing with car titles. And a special affidavit is needed for any errors in that specific part of the title, which makes sense. So they gave him the wrong form. And then me getting the car, I think it trickled through for about 8 months before it finally ended up at the dealership I bought it from. And I buy it, and when I went to register, they said no, couldn't do it. So I had to take the paperwork back to the dealership I bought it from, and they had to try and get a hold of CARMAX and the original owner. And that's where we're at. My temp tag's actually expired right now. I shouldn't be driving the car, but I need it to get to work. I'm actually on my way to a work thing right now. And at this point, the original owner has to, with a CARMAX representative, sign the correct form. So I'm hoping that the guy who owned this car originally and sold it to CARMAX doesn't ghost us, because he could very well ghost us and make this car completely unregisterable, all because some dude working at CARMAX just didn't grab the right form that day. And there's a chance that if I got a lawyer involved, that this could get fixed. But I'm several grand deep into this car on top of the initial purchase price, because I wanted to get this thing sorted out as quickly as possible and get beyond the deluge of BMW content on the channel. I'm sorry if there's been a lack of variety lately, but getting my daily driver sorted out has been my top priority. I do have a day job, I do have a life outside of YouTube, and on top of that, I'm balancing, my personal life and potential new relationships on top of all that, and my personal life does come first. I'm not going to make large sacrifices or work myself to insanity for a YouTube channel. That's just ridiculous. I love doing this, but the moment that I stop loving it and the moment that it starts making the rest of my life worse is the moment that it takes a back seat. I genuinely believe that I can make better content when I'm not having an anxiety attack over making better content. And this is the kind of thing that's why I started this channel. I just have the worst luck with some stuff. It's not the sort of thing that happens all that often. I need to get around this guy. He's just spraying gravel at me. Love that. Just enough torque that I don't have to leave 6th gear. But this is just the sort of thing that happens to me with such stunning regularity. If anything can go wrong, it will probably go wrong and fail in spectacular fashion. Whenever I work on other people's cars, smooth sailing. Work on my mom's car, work on friends' cars, it always just somehow works out. But every time I work on my own stuff, it's just such a nightmare every single time, no matter what the job is. I was walking through LKQ recently and I actually saw something familiar. That is my old Scion TC. Looks like it was there from insurance company, so it looks like it got a little bit of front-end damage on the fenders there, and they just totaled it out. I'm guessing the kid that I sold it to put full coverage insurance on it. It's not worth much. I'm not surprised that it got totaled. That's pretty expected. Good riddance. I absolutely hated working on that thing. I love working on this thing. It's a very, very good car. I even like the color. I'm kind of surprised at myself. I thought I would hate silver, but it just stays looking clean for so long. And now that it's ceramic coated, it will be clean for so long. Nice to not have to think about it too much. The only thing left that I kind of want to do to this that isn't like that aren't maintenance things, and I ordered this already. It's a wireless charger, because I've already got wireless CarPlay, and I don't want to, I'm in and out of this car 10 times a day. I don't want to wear out my charging cable. And a 330i conversion, which is the intake manifold and DISA valves, and I just got my new DISA valve rebuild kits in, and the exhaust, which the 330i had a sport exhaust, and this was only sedan and touring for only 2 years or 1.5 years. They never made a coupe, but it had a valved exhaust, and I think it's very similar to the 128i exhaust, which my mother has a 128i, and I love how that thing sounds. A little bit of a burble when you want it, and nice and quiet the rest of the time. So we'll be welding that in here shortly, and just completely converting this from a 128 to a 330 with the tune and those bolt-on parts. So that will be super cool. Just make this thing a little bit more special, because it's the car that BMW never built, but they should have. This engine, so responsive. The N52 is really the pinnacle. I mean, it literally is the pinnacle. It was the last naturally aspirated straight six that BMW ever made, and it is the best one. After this, everything got direct injection and turbos. But this is reliable, smooth, very quick and responsive as far as like revving. I love it. Love this car. Hopefully I can register it. I'm sure it'll get resolved probably by the time that this video even comes out, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't nervous. The idea that I have something that I'm happy with and it could just be taken away from me because of the actions of someone else is frustrating, to say the least. So I'll record another bit and put it after this, and then you guys will know what happened. Greetings, it's Jake from the future, and I have good news. I got the paperwork, and the car is now registered. I'm just waiting on the title and the tags in the mail, so relief. Still annoyed that any of this was required in the first place, but at least it had a happy ending, so I guess there's that. Thanks for watching.